All right, that's good.
Somebody showed me orange Jägermeister tonight. Like Jägermeister orange. I kind of want to try it.
Oh,
I just threw up in my mouth a
know.
little bit. No, why would you want to do that to yourself, Trey? You're an old
actually
man.
like
Why do you want to?
Jägermeister.
Why do you want to punish yourself like that?
Oh, I don't get hangovers. I don't have any issue with hangovers ever. So I really dislike licorice, but I love Jägermeister because it's an event.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gamers of all ages. It's episode 16. Episode 16 of the On the Button podcast. My name's Wes. I'm here with my buddies Ian and Trey. Trey, how you doing tonight?
Kind of tired, actually. I worked out twice today, so I'm kind of like not really run down. The brain is going.
Look at
But
you.
I went and lifted weights earlier, and then this evening, me and the wife played pickleball. It's,
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm sticky and sweaty, and well, I was. Now I'm not.
You play pickleball on a tennis court, like a regular tennis court, right?
It's like a smaller tennis court.
Okay.
I assume it originally started on one, but now that it's such a big deal, they have like their own courts.
So like your fancy subdivision has dedicated pickleball courts now.
Oh, the country club that I'm a member of.
Oh,
has
excuse
dedicated-
me.
Oh, wow.
Excuse
Pickleball
me,
court.
sir. My bad. I'm so
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
peasants, bow before.
Yes, sir.
Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, we all learned something about Trey that we didn't know before.
I'm better than you.
Exactly right. See, and now you know, and knowing is half the battle, as they say.
Yeah.
Ian, how you doing, my friend? You just got back from a work trip.
Yeah, man, I'm exhausted. They kept us going from like 7 a.m. to like 10 at the night, 3 days in a row, man.
But you
What
got
are you
to-
like stocking shelves or what is it's Petco?
No, it's like so like yeah, it's like I mean the best way to describe it is just a giant work conference where they bring you what they're gonna do for the new year, what they want you to do, and they roll it out to the team.
Okay.
But at the same time, you've got to go to like a bunch of vendor training sessions that help pay for all the food and for us to all be there. So it's a long time. They added a mandatory like get together and meet everybody thing for the first time. So that was pretty rough.
Boom, boom, Ian.
Yeah. So it was pretty. I mean, it was neat. I had a really great time. Hanging out with all your peers is always fun.
Well, and you got to experience one of the nicest places that I've had the fortune to visit this time of year in early October now, and that's Nashville, right? I mean, sounds like you like beautiful weather and everything this week, right?
Beautiful weather. I hit the didn't hang out in the weather this time. Instead, I went to the Country Music Hall of Fame
Nice.
museum.
Okay.
That place is amazing, man. I learned, I don't know anything about country music, but I know 2 things about country music. Number 1, you have to have a really kick-ass custom guitar.
Okay.
That is rule number 1. Every country singer had like the most beautiful guitar of their time era. Like as you're going through the museum, it starts in like the early 1800s. I didn't realize that country music had been around.
Oh, yeah.
long, right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like it covers like the really early 1800s and some really early recordings. When you see things on 78s, you know that they're super old because that's the first rotation spin of them. So, you're going through the time eras and like it's like this guy had a 1934 like custom Martin guitar, which was like the nicest guitar at the time. The other thing I learned is you have to have a kick-ass sparkly outfit because next to every every beautiful guitar
that is accurate
was a rhinestone kick-ass outfit.
Yeah, no, that part is 100% true.
But the museum was absolutely fantastic. I would recommend it to anybody.
Okay.
So you say that country music, and I immediately when you say country music, I think Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson plays in t-shirt and jeans, and his guitar trigger is the most run of the mill, beat up, worn out thing that makes the best sound. So like, put the little asterisk on the end of that says like, except for Willie Nelson.
Yeah, they had some Willie Nelson like set lists. There was no outfit, and there was definitely no guitar because he's only ever played one. That might be the most valuable guitar on the face of this planet, even though it is falling apart at this point.
So, just because I'm curious, but I don't want to get too sidetracked out of this, but I have to ask, where were you in town for this convention? Were you at the Opryland Hotel?
Oh, yeah, the Gaylord.
That place is so amazing. It's so
Yeah,
cool.
Oh my god, it is a maze though, bro.
Yeah,
I got lost every freaking day.
It is, but man, I'll tell you straight up, one of the best things you can do is go see that place decorated at Christmas time. You thought Disney World looked awesome at Christmas?
They were decorating as we left. Yeah.
Yeah. The Opryland Hotel looks stunning at Christmas. The 1 year that I went to Vanderbilt, we had a couple of functions out there as a part of my ROTC unit or something. For some reason, I ended up out there at least once, if not twice. And I remember 17-year-old me was just blown away by this place. It was awesome. And that's 30 years ago. So I can only imagine what it looks like today. Well, guys,
I can tell you that the garden inside is gorgeous.
Oh yeah, the atrium and everything is just stunning.
Beautiful.
It's just stunning. Well, guys, it's been a couple of weeks now since Force Throw got kicked to the curb. Right, the last time we met, the band had been announced but wasn't official yet, and so now as we sit here and record this, it's been almost 2 weeks of official. Okay, Force Throw's out. Unleash the hounds. Get back to work, hit the decks on the drawing board. We've seen at least one weekend of planetary qualifiers come around and see how folks, it's a very small sample size still early days, but we're seeing kind of how folks are adapting to Force Throw being gone. What have you been working on in the lab? What are your thoughts on where we're at now that Red, they've pulled the brakes on Red a little bit and let everybody else play in this meta?
So this is where I feel like a little bit like a listener of this podcast, because I don't play in all that many tournaments, and you pay attention to this stuff way more than I do. So I'm sitting here with bated breath, waiting to hear what people are playing. I don't know. I build the decks. I didn't play in the whole lot of tournaments when it was when Force Throw was around, and so I just kind of built decks in my own little vacuum that I like tinkering with. And then it disappeared, and then I went, oh, okay, I'm gonna go play my decks again. And so I haven't. I just don't get out and play as many tournaments as I would like to, and I don't go look at the results. So I haven't seen that much of a difference. I've seen that there's a difference that when I watch YouTube and I go through it, it's like, oh, this is the new deck that's working really well, but I haven't spent a lot of time looking at it. So have you seen anything, Ian, or are we just both sitting here waiting for Wes to tell us all about it? Rub my hands gleefully.
To be honest, this time we're waiting for Wes. Usually I try to keep up with the meta because I really love it and knowing where it's at, but for the past 16 days in a row, I've worked. So the last game of SWU I played, and this is including Carabast or anything else, was when I played Twin Suns at DL 2 weeks.
Well,
they made you really pay for that trip to Dallas, didn't they?
Yeah.
No. You're the manager.
The trip to Dallas and this Saturday, because I want to take Saturday and Sunday off.
Yeah, that's right. Because you boys have a big upcoming trip this weekend. So yeah, I tend to keep up with these things, but I have also didn't really. I think the first time this past weekend was the first time that I played since Galactics, almost entirely. Let's see, Saturday night there was a showdown out at Bedrock City in Katy, west side of town, about a half hour down by my office, more or less. And what I like about the way they do events is, that for starters, Bedrock doesn't normally have playing area, so when their store closes at 7, they set up tables, and then you play. You come in. Their store showdowns are simple affairs. You come in. It's best of one. And I think this game, there were only 5 or 6 of us. It was a very small event. So we played some games. It was me, Thomas, Jonathan Rodriguez, Baldeep was there, and then I'm missing one, and I cannot remember because I'm a terrible, horrible person. But anyway, they're
just being insulted right now.
They are, and they'll get over it. They can smack me upside the head later. But it was a small affair, and I just went down there and played Vader Red because it was built, and it was like, I feel like playing Vader, and I went 2-1, and went home with some packs. And then Sunday, the day after, I played again, which was shocking. But I went and did the last time we did the podcast, we talked about the trilogy event that the Forge was running, the guys that the leader draft, and I went and did that, which was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I learned that I like the trilogy format better than I thought. I like the way they do it with the drafted leader pool, because basically it means that everybody is forced into different stuff. In other words, it's not just, hey, we all brought Sabine and Boba Datavolt and whatever, whatever the three hot meta things are right now. Because you're drafting your leaders, you're the only person on that leader. Nobody else can have it. And sometimes you can find yourself, if you want, you could draft a leader just because you don't want to fight it. You don't want to do it. You don't want to deal with it. So that was a lot of fun. I really liked that style of trilogy. But I also discovered that just the format itself is really interesting. Folks were having to adapt to, okay, I won a game with this deck. Now I have to put it away and grab the other one. Mm-hmm. And now it's a best of two, and I have to win at least one game with my last remaining deck after I've won game one. And that took a little while for some folks to kind of wrap their brain around. Really neat event, though. I can see that format being more popular as we get into next year, because at the moment, as I understand Trilogy, Trilogy does not have rotation. So Trilogy does share the ban list now, which we didn't do this past weekend. We didn't do that because we had drafted leaders before they announced the Trilogy ban list thing. And that is something they've announced actually since we recorded last, now that I think about it. But they are going to align the ban list in Trilogy with the ban list in Premier. Thumbs up.
That's
Thumbs
good.
up.
That's going to get a lot of people involved.
I know you don't like this, Ian, but that was most people's biggest complaint. They didn't want to try it because it's like, if it's abusive over here, why is it magically okay over here? This makes no sense.
Right.
Right. So
I understand it.
I agreed, and so I like that. And then I think, but also as we go into I guess technically year 3 of the game, it will open up people to go back into their older binders. Right? And in Premiere, I won't be able to grab my old Vader showcase from set 1 or my old Sabine. I won't be able to play Sabine in Premiere anymore, but I can play Sabine in Trilogy. And I think that'll be interesting. That's because cool. You'll find folks that'll want to do that. And I think that'll give that format a bit of a leg up.
That's really interesting to me, though. I think I like the idea of the Eternal format. The way it's always done in other things is just, the one we play is Site 2 or Standard or Premiere, like we have here. And then like the original, where you can play everything, is always just, okay, it's the same exact thing. You just play everything. It would be really interesting if this is how they chose to implement the Eternal format of 1v1, is it was only supported one was trilogies. That would be really cool.
I don't think they're going to do that. They haven't said, we don't know, but I suspect they will announce just a straight up Eternal Premiere format when the time comes. I believe that they will, but we don't know. I will see.
So I am really interested in the trilogies format. One, I'm a deck builder, as I've said before, my enjoyment of this game comes from, in addition to just winning, I like winning with my creations. So it's an expression of creativity through that. And this is a new, more restrictive, more challenging deck building experiment. Yes. And also it weeds out a lot of the spike players, the guys who just, what is the best thing? I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to get as good as possible with this. And I never have to think about like what I'm going to build a deck. Anything else but playing the deck. And it's a perfectly valid way to play, and I don't begrudge them playing that way, but it pushes me out of being able to play at higher level competitions because I don't have the time or the interest to be able to put that much effort into it. And so I really like this idea.
You would have been
I like it from the
go.
I like Trilogy from the opponent aspect too. Like I like exiling somebody's deck. Like if I sit down across from you, Trey, and you've got like a Palp yellow or a Palp blue, I'm gonna be like, bye Palp, bye, because I know you can just close your eyes, pilot that to a victory, right? Sit down from Wes, and he's playing Kylo Tarkentown. No. I'm not dealing with that stupid thing today. I played it once at DL, and I sat across from Chris, and Chris has been playing. He's been really into. I think it was like Third Sister.
Yes,
what he's really into.
He's really been hitting Third Sister.
We sat down to play Trilogy, and I was like, "No Third, put her away." Like, I know you can pilot that thing. I've seen you just fly with it, so you can just put that aside, and we'll play some other stuff.
You guys, it's funny. We're kind of skipping ahead in terms of segments here. But you guys would have been so proud of me. I actually built Hard Control.
No.
Really?
Yes, sir. I built Iden Data Vault. I drafted Iden specifically so that I would force myself to do this. I built the deck. I played it twice, and I learned. I learned a lot in 2 games. I learned I have a lot to learn about playing Control. I had a win and a loss with it, and the loss was not particularly close. I forget. I think it was against Anakin. I think Thomas's Anakin Force Blue beat me. That sounds right, if memory serves. And as I was playing the game, I'm watching myself make misplays, going, "Oh yeah, I shouldn't have resourced that card. Oh, I really shouldn't have resourced that card."
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And so it's like anything else. It's one of those decks that requires repetition to understand the matchups you're in and what cards you actually need out of your deck to feed, to compete and win that matchup, and then learn not to put them face down on the table in front of you. So, but it was a good experience. I'll probably keep that deck together just so that I it's like we were saying, 4 or 5 episodes ago, whatever it was. I got to learn, right? As much as I don't enjoy playing the style of play, if I want to learn how to combat it more effectively, I feel like I owe it to myself to learn how to play it. Now, a lot of those cards are rotating out. We had a big long conversation last time about control decks and the blue removal card, the blue removal events that we anticipate will be rotating out. We don't know anything about reprints yet, but we anticipate, which will radically change how that deck works, which is fine by me. But in the interim, I'm going to have to deal with it, so I might as well figure it out. And I look at it as part of I need to get better at understanding how these decks work, partly for myself as a player, but also for my secondary gig as a commentator, right? When I was in the Austin PQ back in June, I was working with Stephen Cooper out of San Antonio, right? He'd come up and done commentary with me. And we had a great conversation in the finals. One of those decks was a hard control deck, that Iden deck that Joel was playing. And at the end of the tournament, actually, it might have been live on camera. He looked at me and he goes, "You really need to learn how this works and learn more about it, because it'll make you a better commentator when you're sitting in this chair, understanding what the control player is thinking, what they're going through, what they're up against." And I'm like, damn it, he's right.
So I've actually flipped the game. I've already gone all the way beyond learning to play the control and then coming back around where I just won't play against control anymore.
Okay.
I've got this Poe deck that I play all the time. That my little Poe green deck, and it takes me 5 minutes to get a game in. And so I'll be sitting here. I work from home, so I'll sit here and work. Blah blah work. Okay, I'm switching gears, and my little palate cleanser is that I go play Poe once on Carabast.
Okay,
and I know I can jam the game in just a few minutes. I've already learned everything, not everything there is to know about playing control, but I've learned as much as I care to invest into playing control, and I'm pretty good at it. And then I'll sit down and I'll start playing, and I'll play an Iden or something, and I'll play a unit, and then they'll kill it. And I'll play a unit, and they'll kill it. And I'll play a unit, and they'll kill it. And I'll be like, and I'm done. And I just quit. Because I don't need to learn anything else about what you're doing. I don't begrudge you playing it. I'm just not going to sit here and feed your machine.
Yeah.
So to try to get back on topic, because we kind of drifted into trilogy there for a little bit. There are a couple of really wonderful tools out there for keeping track of what folks are playing, what's happening in the meta, without having to go and individually look at tournament results. There's at least 2 or 3 websites that compile this data for you.
So you don't have to cover everything in order for you to understand what's going on. You have wasted all of this effort to cover everything just so you know what's going on.
No,
you really could have just used these websites instead.
No, I have. I have. What I'm trying to explain to you and the listeners is that there's some really wonderful tools out there to help you keep eyes on what folks are doing, so that as you move into a competitive season, you can get a feel for what's out there, what people are playing. And this is global, right? These guys compile stats from every PQ on the planet. And the beauty of that, of course, now with Melee and deck lists, they'll run analyses and tell you exactly what cards are in these decks, what leaders are being played, what the conversion rates are. It's actually really, really cool. One of my favorites is SWUBASE, SWU base, BASE.com. You can go over there and they have a great, their front page is just a simple meta tool.
Oh my, this is
I
cool.
yes, I know that.
You got graphs and stuff.
Yes,
Pretty colors.
SWU Competitive Hub is another, and I think SWU Stats I think is mostly about decks that you're playing for yourself.
What's the
one I know.
that shows the win rates on individual cards?
Right. I think SWU Stats is meant for you to like link your decks to the various online playing tools, and then you can track that. You can track how you do and that sort of thing. But so I think SWU Base and probably SWU Competitive Hub are the two big ones. And SWU Competitive Hub is SWU Base is mostly like a stat aggregator. SWU Competitive Hub goes even farther. He does a better job. He'll actually post deck list. He'll show you upcoming events with links to streams. Once he knows that there's going to be a stream, he'll put the link in like on the tournament listing right there, so you can find it if you're looking for something to watch on a given weekend, which is really awesome. So I'll put links to these sites in the show notes, just in the show description. But the bottom line is that Sabine is back. Right? Like that's probably the big takeaway.
Shocking.
I know we're all shocked. I think that's probably the big takeaway from last weekend. She doesn't have the lion's share of like appearances, but she won 3 PQs last weekend.
That's
How
amusing.
many top eights? How many top eights?
Let's see. You've got I don't have a quantity here. Give me a minute. Oh yeah, I do. You've got 10 top 8s, 10 top 8 appearances and 3 wins. Now the most top 8 appearances go to the various Han solos. Spark of Rebellion Han 1 made a big comeback, and we kind of talked about this last time. That was kind of my expectation.
Killed Han.
Hand Destruction murdered this deck, and so Han is back with a vengeance. Only 1 PQ victory, but a lot of conversions into the top cut. So I mean that feels good. If your goal is
the hard control,
you're right. If your goal is to get points and go home with some loot at your PQ, that's a solid deck. Han 2 out of Spark Rebellion, the Red Han, also still up there. Boba Fett Data Vault, right? Boba Fett out of Set 4.
Still a great deck.
Still a very popular deck. No wins, but a lot of placings in those top 8s. And then Sabine. So the two big kind of winners of the PQ events that we've seen since the Force throw ban, hilariously, are still red, right? It's Sabine and it's Han 2. Now, Sabine shocks nobody who's been playing the game for any length of time. Han 2 is interesting to me just because that was the deck that everybody thought was going to run away with things at Galactics, and it had a very good showing. There were lots of them in the field that played well. But, of course, other decks ultimately ended up winning. It clearly seems to have gone nowhere. For my money, I'm shocked that Talzin still isn't on this list, because I don't think that deck depends on a card like Force Throw. But maybe I'm crazy.
So this SWU base has the coolest stats. Like I'm looking at a graph now that shows matchups of like this leader, Mother Talzin versus Boba Fett, and who wins the most matchups.
Yes, sir.
And like Mother Talzin has bad matchups all the way across the board. That's fascinating. The only thing it's good into CAD, it's good into Thrawn, jump to Lightspeed Thrawn, and what's that one? Oh, Kaz. It's good into Kaz, the yellow aggro deck from Kaz. This is fascinating. I've never seen this site before.
Yeah, this is a great site.
We've lost Trey the rest of the episode.
Well, and it's beautiful just because it allows you to, you can dive as shallow or as deeply as you want. And like you said, the matchup tab is really, really cool.
I want to say this: the community made stuff for this game is amazing. Online gameplay with Carabast, online deck building with SWUDB, and a meta hub that is super easy to surf. I don't know the name of it. I have it. I go to it every once in a while. The one that gives you the card database that tells you the win rates on your cards.
Oh,
I think it links to your.
Is that SWU Stats as well? I think I know.
I think that's SWU Stats.
SWU Stats.
It will tell you it will tell you that like Overwhelming Barrage has like a 58% win rate or whatever it is, right? So like when you can play it in a game, it helps you win a game. Like it's really fun to look at that in card wise. Like sometimes I feel like I want to look at it and pull like the worst cards and try to put a deck together.
Now you're feeling me. That's what I want to do.
So, yeah.
But yeah, there's
good stuff, man.
You're not wrong. The community has really stepped up and built some amazing tools to kind of aggregate this data and help us see everything. It's really awesome. I think for me,
shout out to all of them, man. They're
absolutely
freaking amazing.
huge shout out. So many great tools. I think for my money right now, the takeaway is things haven't settled just yet, but the decks you kind of expect to see are still out there. Now, the one outlier on this list that really shocked the hell out of me is JTL Vader. Right? The Vader TIE Swarm, still very popular. Lots of people playing it. Very few people having any success with it. Barely
I know. I was just looking at that.
A 40% win rate out of JTL Vader. And I don't know if it's because folks are now all sideboarding and bombing run and they're just ready for this. I don't know, but
They're
really
all
surprised
playing
me.
red. They're all playing red.
You're not wrong.
So why wouldn't you have bombing run?
That's a
How
fair
can
point.
you not have bombing run? To be honest, like it's a decent card where you could main deck like one.
I would think I would probably at main deck one and put the other two in the board in most red decks that I played. If I did that.
Like you pull an open fire for a bombing run.
I could totally see it.
Not the worst idea to have.
Nope.
There's a lot of stuff in space that people are playing that has Sentinel. So like if I've got a handful of decks that I've been playing. I got some of them are blue and they have that Mandalorian fighter that has Sentinel. I played a game earlier today with my Poe deck, which is super aggressive. I played against Vader. The game actually went long. All I did was play, and I can't remember any names. The 2/6 space unit was Sentinel from the
Bright
first
Hope.
Bright Hope. I threw that down and he just had nothing. I stopped his entire deck by playing Bright Hope, and then I drew a second one. So after he spent the whole game working through this one Bright Hope, that eventually I think I put Chewbacca on to make it bigger, and then he killed it. I threw another one down, and he just like lost immediately.
Anyways, great tools. If you're out there working PQs, use them and see what folks are up to. And maybe if you're struggling for deck ideas, that's a great place to look. So yeah. I feel like we've probably already covered the trilogy portion of the show. We kind of skipped ahead a little bit there. Yeah, we did get lost in that for a minute, just talking about, I actually got to play the game and this is what I played. I will say I haven't been to DL in like a month, like locally. And I know they did draft this week, and I was thinking about going, and I just haven't. I'm leaving tomorrow to go. We're driving to Lubbock tomorrow to cover the PQ out there. Let's see, what's the current registration? It was like 28 last I checked. Are we still at 28?
Isn't there like a sector this week?
30 now. There is a sector in Portland this weekend. And I think it was over there it was on Swoop Base now that I think about it. So there's a sector in Portland this weekend. Next weekend, there's a sector in Philadelphia. That's the sealed limited event sector. And then that same weekend in Bilbao, Spain is the big European regional that will have both a sealed event and a constructed event.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Regionals are now 3 days. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, Saturday is the sealed. Saturday, Sunday is the constructed, which I think is really, really cool. I'm looking forward to hopefully, fingers crossed, covering one of those over the winter. Oh, did you guys see that they had put a stream on the schedule at the end of the month, 29th of October? They're going to announce dates for the next wave of sectors, regionals, and planetary qualifiers. So before the set drops this time. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So we're going to have all of those dates before the next set actually even goes to pre-release, which is for me a big deal because I'll be able to hopefully plan some trips. Yes. Plan some trips and go to some events. So fingers crossed. I'm excited for that.
I finally pulled myself away from Swoo-based tab so I can participate in this conversation again.
Trey has just been...
I clicked back over to their show notes, and I'm locked in until it grabs my attention again.
We need the numbers meme of Zach Galifianakis, like just losing his mind with the numbers and everything. Ian, you had some notes in here talking about deck building engines. Talk to me about your thoughts here because I'm curious. Hang on a minute.
Okay.
I think sometimes that Trey and I, because we've been playing TCGs for so long, take certain things for granted. So with
100%.
With that said, please
100%.
expound upon the topic that you've chosen here for a little bit.
So Trey and I have been working on a Luke Skywalker deck, trying to make this garbage leader work. Trey has figured out because he's a well. I'll be 100% honest. Trey has figured out because he's a better player than I am, how to play a Luke Skywalker deck that actually holds up mid ground. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not fantastic, but it can win. I've won games before Force Throw was canceled. I've won games against Quinlan. I've won games against Boba Data Vault. Like, you can win games with it. The problem is that I really struggled with figuring out how to play it until we were sitting down and he was coaching me. Let's just be 100% honest. He's literally over my shoulder and I'm asking him a question about, do I resource this? Do I play this? 100% coaching me.
You're not actually playing it. He's just playing it and you're the hands at the table.
A little bit,
No,
yeah,
but-
to get
I'm
started.
explaining
maybe a
myself
little
to him while I do it. Like, this is
Why he's
why
doing
you're
it,
doing
right?
this.
And as I'm resourcing, he points to an Arc Wing and a Yoda in my hand because I'm like, oh, I think I want to resource the Yoda for whatever other card I wanted to keep. And he's like, no, you need to keep those and get the engine started. And that had never even like been a word that I had incorporated into understanding of games.
Okay.
And as soon as he said that to me, ever since he said that to me, it's made sense. I needed to get my restore engine going, right? I had been building decks based on combos and not always really a really thorough theme, right? I build around leaders and combos. Like, what combos can I get with the leaders and what, leaders can I get to pull off fancy combos? When he said engine, it like clicked for me. And the deck that Trey built has several engines in it, right? It's got a restore engine. It's got a Ahsoka's like T-34 ship that you put Protector on and Page Tico on. And basically you have to smash into it, it gets stronger, it attacks, it gets stronger. And it becomes a unit that's like, unless you rivals fall it's very difficult to kill. So like that's another engine that's in the deck. So it's interesting that like, yeah, you guys have played games for so long and I'm pretty new to this, that kind of concept didn't really hit me. And once he talked about it, and it kind of just explained to me how he gets things started, it really helped me play the deck a lot better. Now I've gone back and I've simplified it a little better so that the only engine in the deck is restore, but it's helped me a lot and I can get it started and it really helps me win a couple more games.
So
That's cool.
So Trey, for those folks who are out there that are maybe at kind of Ian's journey, right? This is their first TCG or they're still learning or they're picking the game up. How did you kind of explain this to him? Go talk me through the lesson that was taught here so that he grasped it.
I have no memory of this line that I said to Ian that was so profound.
No.
I was like,
Okay, maybe Ian could share it then. Do you
well, I
remember,
mean,
Ian?
I can.
No, he literally just said like, you need to get this engine started. You need to get this restore engine started. And
I mean,
that's
I know what he's
gave
talking
me the
about.
epiphany. Like, and
Okay,
and
just
when
the
I
term.
look back at just the term, yeah, I
Okay.
had never even the term helped me grab more concepts about the trading card game.
Okay. Okay.
And like when I looked at the deck that Trey had built, it has all these different like really fun engines like that you can build that are built into the deck. So I'm hoping that one day when I get better at playing the game and better at building, I can have multiple engines in a deck.
So,
But like
so that's
right now, one engine is all I can put in a deck.
So when I build a deck, this is I can speak to that a little bit. When I build a deck, I try to. I don't remember saying the word engine because that didn't click when you said that. But I try to make all of the cards have as many interconnections as possible. So if there are decks that you can build that if you draw these 5 cards, you win immediately. But if you don't draw these 5 cards, you just lose immediately. So there's no skill, there's no strategy. The skill is, did I draw the cards? I'm mulligan. Did I draw the cards? Game over. And so the way that I try to build decks is I look at cards that work together in different ways. And so I don't want to just put in a card that only works in this situation. I want these 2 cards that are in this deck to work together in one way. And then one of those cards with some other card to work either in the same way or in a different way so that it doesn't really matter what combination the cards come out in. I'm always getting some value between them. So I think of it as interconnective tissue between the cards themselves. And so I'm going to be playing multiple cards. I want to play cards that work well together no matter what you're playing. So like that protector card that you put on the 1974, that card works great on the T19, whatever the hell that ship is.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It works really well on that ship, but it doesn't have to work really well on that ship. You can put it on you can put it on a Yoda and like on the other side of the
Dune. I played
space
on
light.
Dune a lot. Dune, he
Mhm.
put
Yeah, you
Dune,
played on
Dune's in the
Dune.
deck.
Because he's
He
like
played on
you can
Dune.
just
he's like 2/7 or something,
3/8.
right?
He becomes a
3/8.
3/8 with Sentinel.
Okay.
That you have to go through. It's crazy.
Yeah, so if you look at what that deck in particular is trying to do, it's trying to push the game long so that it can play its big stuff, which is what a lot of decks try to do. But in this particular case, like that card works so well with some because the blue cards are a lot of low damage, high health, and then you kind of make them a little bit bigger, and then it just disrupts the opponent.
Mhm.
And so in this instance, the protector works in a bunch of different ways, and then you have to like look at the cards in your hand and you say, well, these two cards are going to work together if I play them, but that's not really good against what my opponent is trying to do. So you evaluate what you're like in the case of if you're playing against like Vader, the Vader space deck, I will resource if I'm holding protector and a ship in space and a unit, I'll just decide I've got to go to space to counter this. So I'll resource differently at the beginning because I'm going to use this particular piece of interconnected tissue of space units with protector on it. And so, and then I guess in the case of when I was talking about the engine of Restore, that was just it's the cards that you have in your hand have a cost associated with the design of them. They're not going to deal as much damage because they're going to be restoring. So in order to get the value out of them, you have to get them going and you have to get them moving. And if that means you want to play them sooner than other ones.
So for me, there's two different ways I look at. For starters, I follow along with what you're saying, and I have a similar experience when I build decks. For me, the terminology is, I won't say it's right or wrong. I'll just say in my mind, I classify it a little differently. What you're describing, Trey, the word I would assign to that is like synergy, right? You're looking for cards that synergize well so that when you put a card in the deck, you've already thought of 3 different good uses for it. Oh, it could be good on this unit, that unit, or this unit. And then one of the reasons that getting reps in with a deck is very valuable is because very commonly you'll find yourself in an unusual board state, a weird situation with that card in your hand, and your brain will trigger onto a new possible use of this card that you hadn't considered when you put it in the deck. And so that's why those reps are frequently so important. So synergy between the cards that you're playing and how they kind of mesh together to achieve whatever it is you're building this deck to achieve is always a big deal. When we say engine, my brain keys onto a mechanic. Let's go back to your JTL Vader idea. To me, that is an engine, right? Because it's more the goal of that deck, especially in the early game, the first turn or two, is to set it up so that I'm always able to trigger Vader's unit ability. Every single turn, I've got enough regular, non-token fighters on the board that I can attack with at least one of them and tap Vader and the TIE Factory spits out a TIE fighter. That's kind of the way. That's why that deck plays so many 1-drops. It wants to go wide as quickly as possible so that my opponent can't shut down my TIE Factory, my TIE generation engine. The restore, calling it a restore engine is also, in my mind, a very valid thing. The way Ian's describing it in this blue deck, I look at restore as exactly that in this game. It's so many blue units, particularly Blue Hero bastards, have restore printed on them that you just have to put them in a deck, and it's very possible to reach this critical mass of having enough of them on the board that your opponent's like, well, smashing your base is pointless. You're literally healing it all back every turn. I have to deal with these idiot units you have that all have restore. You're forcing me into this position just because you have played cards that have this keyword on them, this ability on them. But it's exactly an engine, because once you get that going, once you get enough restore on the board, you're like, he's like, to belabor the point, you're driving the game. You're forcing your opponent into having the decisions he has to make. You're kind of dictating them a little bit.
Yeah.
That's really cool though. I like that you're kind of making these discoveries, let's say.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still new,
fun to
so
watch.
I'm learning new things all the time, so it's really fun. Like playing with you guys is, like I say, playing live. There's nothing better than playing live.
Yeah. In fact, I gotta have one of you guys, both of you guys over to the house later this month. We gotta get some games in on the table or something before the new set comes out. Yeah, I need to do that. I have not set the cameras up again since Dallas. I set them up this week to do a little bit of work down there. But I have not. And then I'm gonna tear them down, of course, because we're driving out tomorrow. And then after I get back, I'll probably set everything up again for a spell. We'll see how it goes. It's early October. We're now basically more or less a month away, 4 weeks or so away from the new set. Spoilers continue to abound every day, and it's been a couple of weeks since we gathered to talk about spoilers. Trey, this topic has kind of got you fired up a little bit.
Weedy bit.
So I'm going to start. I'm going to
guys, hang on a minute. I have to interject this. You guys should see our private chat, by the way.
Yeah. Oh God.
Woo, a little spicy in there.
I'm going to start with a card that I think is interesting. I have no idea if it's good. I do like that they're trying new things, and I think DJ is interesting. I think
agree.
He does interesting stuff. No idea if he's going to be good, but he plays the game in a different way. I think that's fine. I do want to pause and let Ian talk a little bit because I know the cards he's going to talk about, and then I don't think they're terrible. And so I'm going to have a bit of a rant in a minute, and I want to give Ian ability to talk before I just go off.
They showed off those KOTOR cards, and they are all fire.
There's some really good stuff in
every one of those units.
Yeah.
So, like, everybody wants to play more Sith decks, right? There's more Siths now, especially Blue Sith.
Yes.
Blue Sith is becoming a pretty easy one to, if you wanted to ever play Revan, he's becoming very easy to play now with Blue.
I'm stoked to try that deck.
I think I love playing Grand Inquisitor, especially in Twin Suns, but I do play him in Premier also, so I think he's going to be awesome. I'm not sure I understand this infinite loop that they say you can pick off.
Okay.
Because she says you
I can explain it.
We can explain this very quickly. Go ahead, Trey.
Let me.
Go ahead, Ian.
Trey.
No, go ahead, Ian. Finish your thought.
So she says, ready a non-leader unit. You need GI.
That's not what. No,
that's
not what it says.
It's a non-unit leader. So as long as it's a leader and not a unit, then it works.
Non-unit leader.
Non-unit leader. You're readying the front side of your leader every time she attacks. Your leader cannot be deployed.
So you're gonna have.
You can just keep doing your leader's little tap ability.
Bingo. Yes, that's a bingo.
Okay.
Yeah. So if other people aren't catching on this, so what it is that you have the unit that attacks and it readies a non-unit leader. So the guy that you have out horizontal next to your base.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna use the Grand Inquisitor to untap her. She attacks. She takes 2 damage. Then you play the Tragedy of the Plagueis is a blue card that says that a unit doesn't die for having 0 or less health. So basically what that means is you get to use Grand Inquisitor to untap her by doing 2 damage to her. And normally that if you do it enough, Grand Inquisitor will just kill the guy.
Kill her.
But now she can't die. So you use Grand Inquisitor to stand her back up. Yeah. She attacks the base, and when she attacks the base, she stands Grand Inquisitor back up. And then you use Grand Inquisitor to stand her back up, and then you
so on and so on.
That's awesome. Because what Grand Inquisitor struggles with is late game. You just set up an easy late game for Grand Inquisitor.
Now, okay.
By getting an infinite combo in, right?
Okay.
But I mean, you've got to be able to keep that. But you're going to see that coming a mile away, so you're going to do something about it as an opponent.
Exactly right. There's a couple of there are ways for your opponent to disrupt this. Not the least of which is hand disruption. The other thing is that you're talking about a combo that is in 4 colors. Right, and so at least
3.
in your own
Three.
black, red, blue,
everybody's
and
playing
yellow.
Oh yeah,
you're in 4 colors.
But you're only going to play that.
You're going to get black by playing Grand Inquisitor, so fine. But the bottom line is you're only going to get 2 of those. So and one of them is red and has to be your leader. So you whether you pick yellow or blue, one of the cards in your combo you're paying extra for because you're playing it out of aspect. So
my first thought was to instantly play it at 7.
And see,
I agree.
I think there's a valid
case. That was my first thought.
Because if memory serves,
that was my first thought in my head.
The card that we're talking about, the unit we're talking about is Darth Trey. And if memory serves, Darth Trey only costs, she's yellow, black, and she costs 3. She costs 3. So if you, in my mind, the quote unquote right way to do this is to try to set it up. You play Grand Inquisitor blue and try to set it up so that on that 5 or 6 resource round that maybe you can pull this off, in my opinion. Now,
okay, so like I play Grand Inquisitor a lot. You want to
play
win
yellow
by
though,
5.
don't you?
Yeah, I play yellow, but this is what I'm saying. You want to win 5, 6. 5, 6 resource phases you have to win. If you don't win there, then playing that Plagueis card at 7 gives you an end game.
Okay, I think I see where you're going.
That's my thought on it.
I see where you're going with
but,
that. Okay.
I mean, it seems hard to pull off.
Somebody will try it. I guarantee somebody will try it.
It will happen occasionally, for sure.
It will. It'll happen. It'll be curious to see if folks can pull that off. Okay, so we talked. So there was all that conversation. What else, Ian?
Oh, that's it. And I think DJ looks fun too.
Okay.
I like the idea of stacking your units underneath, flipping DJ.
It is interesting.
And getting double value for your units, right? Because you're. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So like getting double value for units on his flip side when he flips on 6.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of interesting.
Mechanically, I don't want to be the judge that has to explain how that card works to people. It's going to take people. That one and Trey are going to break people because almost 50% of the people that I've spoken to, just like you, Ian, misread Darth Trey the first time that they read the card. So
as soon as you explain it to me, I'm just in my mind, I'm automatically reading it backward.
Exactly.
As soon as you said it, I went and looked at it and I went, oh shit, like I just interpreted it wrong.
Right,
because
exactly.
every other card has said the exact opposite.
So Trey, let's circle back to you. You kind of passed the ball off to Ian there so he could have his
spiel. This is fun. I can't wait for this.
Let's swing the pendulum back the other way. You thought DJ was interesting, but is that where it ends? You're muted.
When I lose,
no, you're not. Okay, there we go.
No, I'm not. I'm drawing a deep breath.
Okay.
When I lose this game, I like to play it. I think I'm pretty good at it, but I definitely lose. And
sure.
A lot of times I lose because the cards came out in a certain way, but I make mistakes on occasion. And if I lose because I made a mistake, it is almost always the same sequence of events. It is. I will go deep into the tank and I will think and how am I going to play this? What sequence of plays do I have coming up that is going to give me the best opportunity to win this game? And I will plan, all right, I have these 2 resources. I'm going to do this. And then when I do that, that's going to set me up for this. And then they're going to do this. And then I'll I will develop this chain of things that I think is going to happen. And the mistake that I make is that I will go so deep in the tank in that moment that I will completely forget whatever I used for the first step in that link.
First link in the chain. Okay.
The first link in the chain, I will forget about it. And then I will make some play. And then I'll get to the end in my thought process. I'll get to the end of that thought process and I'll be like, or I could just do this. Because I have these 2 resources. I can just do, and then I'll do that real quick. And then I'll be like, oh crap. I totally forgot that I needed to set up this sequence of plays by doing this other thing first. And then I'm too far behind and I lose. So I will the point of that story is that I will go down this logical series of steps of I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this and this. And then I will try to remember the first thing, or I'll just do the thing that I think I'm supposed to do next and realize I have completely forgotten that first step.
Okay. And
that sequence of going down this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. That is how I feel like these cards are being designed. And I feel like in the new set, I feel like they've gone 2 steps too far in how they think these cards are going to use. They've gone, the example that I'm thinking of here, and this is my favorite card in the set. My favorite card in the set right now is 1 in a million.
Oh God.
1 in a million.
Unplayable.
Well, this is a rare. You're going to invest your hard-earned $4.99 plus tax, and you're going to get a shiny booster pack, and you're going to be excited, and you're going to crack this booster pack open. And you're going to be like, oh, look at this. Did I get any hyperspace? No, I didn't get any hyperspace cards. Oh, there's a foil. Okay, that's okay. Foil. And then you're going to look at your rare and you're going to see 1 in a million. And it is the worst feel bad. And the reason it's the worst feel bad is
it's going to feel worse than a base. A base is at least playable.
Yeah. So this card says this card cannot be played from your hand. So you just can't play this card from your hand. It has to be resourced. So that's one thing. So when you see what this card does in a minute, you can understand why, oh, you can't play this card from your hand. That makes sense. It says it has plot. So that means that you're going to play it as a resource. It's only going to play when you flip your leader. So you're going to flip your leader. And then with plot, you can play this, and it costs 1. So it's great. It says defeat a unit, which is awesome. If I had a plot that said the card that I can't play this from my hand, so I put it down, plot, flip it up, pay a couple of resources, pay it cheaper because I can't play it from my hand, and then boom, I kill a unit. That's awesome. That's going to make a lot of decks. With power and remaining hit points, both equal to the number of ready resources you control. So it doesn't hit anything that starts as like a 2/4. All of these 2/4s they're printing, it doesn't hit any of those. It has to, if it can hit a 2/4 if you've already done 2 damage to it. It is, and you have to remember that you're spending a resource for this, so that can't count as one of the resources that you have ready to, because you're going to shoot. I flip somebody at 4, and then I pay this for a 1, and I'm going to kill your 4/4. No, you're not, because you only have 3 ready resources now. It feels like that. And the name 1 in a million is actually pretty accurate to this. Like, it's never going to, if you pull this off, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
But the thing is it's never going to go in any deck because there's limited space in a deck. And I mean, somebody will put this in a deck, but it's never going to go into a serious competitive deck because nobody's going to put a serious competitive card like this in a card like this in a serious deck that's trying to actually win the game. And so I feel like there are a lot of cards like this in this set. And so I'm getting very much a Twilight of the Republic 2.0 or second version, or the cards in this set, there are some good ones. They've released some okay ones, but I feel like it's going to be very Twilight of the Republic, the next version. And I'm afraid that it's going to, I'm not afraid. This set is going to damage the game. And if you remember last year, the game came out and it was gangbusters. Mm-hmm. And it was so good that people there were not enough cards to satisfy demand, and that drove some people off. But then Shadows came out and it was good. And so we recovered from the few people running off and it was going up. And then Twilight came out and the game was abandoned in droves.
Bro, it was empty. That was our lowest
it was empty.
Point at DL. Yeah. There'd be like 4 or 5 of us every week.
It was rough.
Max.
It was rough.
And if you remember,
only time nobody showed up to draft either. Like, that was really
yeah.
And if you remember, there was an article in June where he was like, yeah, that set was a miss, and here's why it was a miss. And they talked about all the lessons that they learned from it. And so
they made them all again.
It's not this is not an opinion of mine, is that Twilight drove people away. This is an established fact that the people at the company have acknowledged, is that Twilight drove people away from the game. Well, then Jump to Lightspeed came out and was like, this is the greatest set ever.
It was
and
really good.
Everybody started piling back in.
JTL was a great set.
It was a great set. And then Legend of the Force came in and it was I don't think it's as good as Jump to Lightspeed, but it was another aspect. It was another way to attack the things that people like about Star Wars. Not everybody likes spaceships, but that's not all they like. Some people also like space wizards. And so they did a decent job of making a space wizard set. Mm-hmm. And so the game has been growing after the setback of Twilight. The game came back. It's a good enough game. People gave it another shot. Jump to Lightspeed grew it. Legend of the Force grew it some more. And now, from the theme of this set, I don't know who thinks that these things are fun. People do not watch Star Wars.
Those are my favorite characters.
Officials and politics and intrigue. Like,
so
I mean, yeah, they can be minor themes because they're in Star Wars, but to make a whole set that way and then to design cards that are just this uninspiring.
I'm more concerned about the latter than the former, because in my opinion, good gameplay triumphs bad theme. Right?
Yeah.
If I don't like
if I
don't like how the cards are themed, but they're good cards or they're fun to play with or they're interesting mechanically, I can usually look at it and go, I'll survive because it's fun to play. The game is interesting. Right?
100% agree, but they're not.
I'm with you, right? I share the same fears based on the cards that we've seen. I'm sitting here looking at SWODB right now, okay? We have so far out of a 254 card set, they have spoiled 167 cards. So we've seen about 2/3, just slightly less than 2/3 of the set so far. Okay, and out of that, I'm gonna spitball this. I'd say there's probably so far about maybe 15 cards that really interest me. That I look at that and go, I want that card. Now,
those are Twilight numbers.
Exactly. Now,
that's exactly the same thing.
My biggest concern about that is that essentially none of those cards are leaders. Leaders
Oh,
drive the game. They drive deck construction. Sometimes it's because it's a popular character. I really want to play Vader. That's me. I'm a Vader sucker, right? Some people really want to play Hera or Wedge or whoever, their favorite character. Great. But more commonly, leaders that are strong or have good mechanics or interesting mechanics or good benefits or good flip sides even. Sometimes even if the front side is just kind of mediocre, if you flip the guy and he's a banger leader on the unit side, then that's also a good card in many people's minds. Okay. But right now, I'm looking at the list where there are 14 of the 18 leaders spoiled. We're missing one command villainy, one cunning villainy, one aggro hero, and then something at the end, right? We don't know what leader number. Is it 18? No, this is 18. I think it's 17. We don't know what leader 17 is. So there's something at the end between Padme and DJ. Could be yellow, could be regular hero. We don't know. Something down there this could be wild card. So there's 4 leaders left. 14 leaders. How many of these have I gone, oh, I can't wait to build a deck around that?
One.
Almost none of them.
I want to try DJ. Sounds like a cool mechanic to try.
It took until this week that I saw people looked at DJ and Bale. Bale Organa got spoiled this week. And both of those are interesting enough that people were like, okay, just like Trey said earlier, I don't know if this is going to be good, but it's at least interesting. Mechanically, it's different. Mechanically, it provides something that we haven't seen before, or it's exploring new ground. I've said before, one of my frustrations with leader design is so many of them, it's the consistent, you hit resource X, epic action, leader comes out, leader does his thing, leader dies, you get your 1 deploy, you're done. Where are the leaders that that can hit the board more than once? And out of 100, when this set comes out, we're going to have 108 leaders in the game. And at this point, with only 4 unspoiled, only 3 of them are mechanically different, right? It's going to be Trench, Bale, and Chancellor Palpatine from set 3, who has no unit side. He just does that little Sidious Palpatine dance between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
And of those 3, none of them have really caught on. And I look at this and go, is that a failure of design or a failure of the mechanic? I'm not sure if I have an answer, but I feel like there's still plenty of room to be exploring leaders that you pay some different cost for and can repeatedly hit the board, even if they're weak. A guy like Cal Kestis out of this current set, right? A 3/4 weenie, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to hit the board, he's going to die, and you're never going to see him again. Wouldn't that have been interesting if maybe he had some kind of cool ability where every time you spent the force token, I don't know, when you spent your force, like you could spend your force token to deploy him, and he was a 2/4 or something. So he's a weakling, but he can come out repeatedly for a fairly hefty cost. That force token is not a joke, not easy to get. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but I'm like,
that sounds way more fun.
It's if nothing else, it's different, and it feels like they've fallen into this extreme rut with leader design. How many leaders in this set we can go, oh, that's a new Leia? Like Yularen. We all said it a few weeks ago. Oh, Yularen and Leia are basically the same card. Like slight differences, but basically functionally the same. Even in the stats department, they both flip on 5. They both have 6 health. Yada yada yada. Right? That's why Bale and DJ stand out, because mechanically they're doing something very different, very interesting. And either that or they're so oddly specific, bizarrely so. Like this new Leia.
That's the one that gets me.
That card is so bad. It's so hyper specific. It does something that's okay. Okay, you can have an experience token, but you have to do this super specific thing within this crazy narrow range. Put that card next to Snoke and explain to me why Snoke is actually decent, like he's playable, and why this Leia card isn't. Like, I don't understand. Why did you even make this thing?
Yeah. Are you talking about the Leia from Battle from Hoth or whatever it is?
No. The Leia Organa that they spoiled. She's from one of the books, right? This is between
the leader?
Yeah, the leader, the new blue hero Leia. She says her front side, as an action, spend 1, disclose a card that with a non-villainy aspect, essentially. Okay, disclose one of the non-villain aspects. If you do, give an experience token to a unit that doesn't share an aspect with the card you disclosed. Well, what
This is
kind of
that extra nerf thing.
yes,
This
exactly.
is that
That's
extra
exactly
nerf
what it
thing
is.
that they
That's
do
exactly what
over
it
and
is.
over and over.
They're
and it
terrified of
ruins
their
so
own
many
cards. They're terrified of their own cards. I don't understand this game.
I think they need to take more risks and just ban
Yes.
cards. If they've shown that like if it's not working in the meta, they ban it, right? Just take more risk. If it's broken, ban it.
In this example, if you just to look at the design of this card, if you take the one resource cost off of this, and it's just tap, disclose
if it's free,
this.
now it's interesting.
Now it's interesting. If you take the doesn't
like share
you take
the whole
the disclose,
yeah.
Well, you just take like the disclose one of these cards off. Just say pay one, tap, give a unit that doesn't share an aspect with Leia.
Yes.
A +1/+1 tap. That would be great.
That would be interesting.
Oh!
There are so many ways to make this card, but would they added
Yes.
that one extra bit on there, and they do this over and over and over. And
yeah, that one extra nerf. How many times have we had that conversation? They get through testing, and it's like, this card might still be good. Let's nerf it one last time. They've said it themselves. This was something that they talked about. You go back and read the article about the missteps they made in Twilight. One last nerf, and we're still seeing it in set 6. How have they not learned this lesson?
So when they talked about this game before it came out, one of the things that, because remember, if you guys remember, they had to work really hard to sell us that this was not going to be yet another game they abandoned. And one of their things that they said was, we've already designed this many sets, and I think it was like 9 or something. Like they were working on set 9.
Yeah.
And at the time, I thought, well, that's cool. It's going to be weird. I thought it might have a little bit of problem because maybe there might be things that were powerful that they didn't see, and so they were going to have to ban some things, and they were already so far down there they couldn't fix them. I did not think it would be. I would be just like waiting and chomping at the bit to get to the end of the sets that they designed ahead of time.
Yes.
So that they could learn some of their own lessons and design better cards.
Yeah.
And I find that very frustrating.
The one thing that gives me a little bit of hope. When we were at Galactics, I talked to several different staffers over the course of the weekend as we ran into people. I got to go to the VIP breakfast because I had the VIP badge, and I sat at the table with John Leo for breakfast. Now, I mostly kept my mouth shut. A whole bunch of other people were there asking, just drowning him in questions. But eventually, there was a lull in the conversation. And the biggest question I had for him is, of all the stuff you guys have worked on, what set are you looking forward to the most? And without missing a beat, without having to even think about it, he just looks at me and goes, set 7. Set 7 is probably, I forget how he phrased it, but he's like, that's the one that we cannot wait to put in y'all's hands. And that gives me some hope. But man, when I see a set like this, I go, are we going to make it that far? Like, I want to believe it's only 4 months, but these cards so far, I mean, there's only another 80 or 90 to go. Maybe there's more in here that's decent, but man, I'm concerned that there's not going to be enough in here to keep the game exciting enough for 4 more months. Like, that's sad.
Yeah. So I have a thing. I'm usually pretty positive. I look for this. I don't internalize whatever the negative thing is. I will say, like, this is where they screwed up, but I also try to like find the way around it I'm still going to have fun with it doing other stuff. So even though I will say like this is wrong, it's once I decide something is bad though, I root hard against the people that I have invested time in. So and I have a reason for it. Because I think mediocrity breeds more mediocrity. And so if something needs to change, I want it to fail spectacularly and hard so that somebody else sees that it needs to change. So like if my football team is whatever I'm watching is just cruising along and winning some games and losing some games and they're kind of in the mediocrity, I don't want that. I start rooting for them to just get embarrassed. I mean, this is the team I like, and I want them to get embarrassed over and over and over so that whoever makes the decisions sees that this is embarrassing and shoots for something higher. So I don't want to just harp on something, but I feel like I'm approaching the point where I'm going to start rooting super hard for this game to get embarrassed by the level of the extra nerf.
I don't know. I'm beginning to reach a point where I'm going to run out of things to say other than Woof, I'm concerned. I want to be wrong. I so desperately want to be wrong. But dear Lord, I just look at some of these sets. Do you remember, Trey? And Ian, I apologize. Go ahead.
You know what? It comes down to this though. Like you said, they have like 70, 80 cards left to show. Every other card's gonna have to be a banger. Like you're just gonna have to be like, that card's amazing. That card's amazing. Yeah. And I just don't see that happening at this point. Like,
I mean, I don't know. Trey, do you remember? We went through a similar cycle with Destiny. Do you remember this? The first set of Destiny came out and it was really good. And then for like the next 4 to 5 sets, they just felt super weak. And it wasn't until we got back into like year 3 of the game that suddenly it was like they found their legs and were designing good cards again. You remember that cycle?
I very much remember that, yeah.
I feel like we're going through that again. And it irritates me. Like, come on, guys. Didn't you learn this 5, 10 years ago, whatever it was when Destiny was out? 8 years ago, whatever it was?
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. I desperately want to be wrong. And I'm with you, Ian. The KOTOR stuff they spoiled this week, I am super stoked for.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm super stoked for. I can't wait to try Revan Blue with the new toys. I think the Dryden Voss they spoiled this week is really interesting. That's a neat looking card. You don't like that one?
No, I don't. I think they nerfed it once too many. Like, I think it could have been a neat card. I like the idea of how they built the card, but as a 2 damage card, I don't think it's any good. I think you have to work super extra hard to squeeze a tiny bit of extra value out of it. If it was a 3 health one, that seems like that would make perfect sense to me. If it dealt 3 damage that you could then double, I feel like you have to work way too hard to get the tiniest sliver of advantage out of it.
I think that's a card that people are gonna latch onto in certain decks, and it's absolutely like that's a card that GI can't wait to play as an example, right? So that's a card that's gonna absolutely see play. I mean, you may not like it, but I'm telling you right now, it's gonna get played, and people are gonna surprise attack him for played. People are gonna surprise attack him for 10 and find other ways to ready him and whatever else. Like it's 100% gonna be a thing. Because that's the thing. You can. Look at this in a GI deck. Anyway, it can be done. It's going to be interesting.
You can use GI and it doesn't become special. It just becomes average. GI untapping him makes him become average.
Okay. I disagree. I disagree on that one. Because if he said straight up he couldn't ready, I would agree with you. But what he says is he can't ready during the regroup phase. So if you've got a different way to ready him, even something as simple as keep fighting, the keep fighting event lets you ready him, right?
So now you're just attacking with a 4/4.
Well, admittedly, that's not amazing. I mean, you really want to.
That's the part I'm bitching about. No, you're doing all that work to just attack with a 4/4.
That's fair.
That's why if you're going to put all that work in, it should be better than what an average card is.
Okay, that's reasonable. I'll give you that one. I'll align with you there. Well, guys, it's been about an hour. We probably need to hang it up here. I hate ending on such a down note, but I mean, it's like we keep saying, I want so desperately for the game to be great, and it feels like sometimes FFG doesn't share that vision, and it irritates me.
We'll be back in 2 weeks, and hopefully we're talking about how many bangers they dropped in the last 2 weeks. How excited we are for this set.
Happy.
Nothing would make me
happy.
Nothing.
I would love that so much.
Yes.
That's what's going to happen. Positivity. We got to think it into existence.
Oh my goodness gracious. All right, guys. Well, any closing thoughts here before we wrap it up?
I got nothing. Okay. I mean, I've already moved on. It's football time now. I'm headed out.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys hanging with us. Throw us a like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is on whatever platform that you're enjoying the content on. Thanks for being here. Have a good one, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.